how we manage stress in our life will largely determine the quality of our life. You know, there's going to be stress on our lives. Some of that is good stress. It's stress that gets us up in the morning or gets us into action. It helps us to follow through on some things that we're doing to help to move our life forward. But there's other aspects of stress that can pull us down, and the way out of that is to focus on getting the body calm. To get the body calm, we have resources within ourselves to be able to manage our state. You know, our state of mind is really a function of what we focus on, which is largely directed by the questions we ask ourselves. But we're subconsciously asking ourselves questions that will help us to gain resources. And if you're asking a question that's saying, why does this always happen to me? Then you're presupposing that it always happens to you, as opposed to saying, what could I do to change the direction of my life here? What could I do to improve the quality of my life? What could I do to make myself more fit, more healthy, more alive, more energized? And when you ask that question, you're going to get different answers. So part of the solution is what we do in our mind and how we ask ourselves those questions. The other part of it is what we call physiology, which is the way that we move our body. And so one of the ways that I do that for myself is to focus on my breathing and focus on quieting my mind down. So how do you do that? Well, our breathing is both automatic, meaning autonomic. It's also voluntary, meaning that we can take a deep breath in. But we subconsciously hold our breath when we're stressed. I think it's a survival mechanism, but we can do something about that. We can literally bypass that autonomic breathing mechanism and breathe in and out to reduce the pressure in our body. Years ago, I remember one of my mentors saying to me that, he was commenting on how I was handling my own stress, and I wasn't handling my stress all that well at the time. And he said, stress is like an orange. When you squeeze it, what comes out is what's on the inside. And I think about that a lot. I think about how I'm showing up in the world and how I'm using my mind to manage my stress, and how I'm using my body to manage my stress. So I learned I grew up and I was asthmatic as a kid, and so I didn't really learn, I didn't understand how to breathe well. And so when I went out on my own and I was learning how to manage my life and manage my emotions, manage the way I felt, I learned how to breathe in a much more powerful way. And so there's lots of different breathing methodologies. Lately, I've been using, there's a guy named Wim Hof, that's WIMHOF. He has all sorts of different breathing exercises and what on YouTube. You can watch those. It's great. But breathing can be a precursor. You do some breathing, get some oxygen in your body, and gets you ready for meditation. So meditation is not some woo-woo thing. It's more a way of calming your mind and releasing your thoughts and getting calm and quiet within yourself. So I breathe and do some breathing and meditation every day, twice a day, both in the morning time and in the evening time. And I found that when I do that, I feel really super relaxed, chilled, balanced. When I slip up and I forget, or I don't exert my own will to get it done, then I don't quite feel the same. So some other things that can help us with our stress level, and a lot of people tend to do this, they go and they exercise. And exercise is a fabulous way to improve our stress level, simply because we're breathing in more oxygen, we're moving our body, we're getting our muscles working. And there's a saying that emotion is created by motion, that when we move our body, it helps to change the way that we feel. So part of feeling calm is changing the way that we feel. Sometimes I'll close my eyes and I'll just count down from 10 back to 0, and I'll just slow it down in between. So it'll sound like a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And in that 10 seconds, I can think about consciously slowing my heart rate down. When I was in college, I took a course called autogenic training. And autogenic training was like precursor to biofeedback. And they would use biofeedback to slow down your heart rate or your blood pressure in your body. You use your mind to be able to change those things. And you can actually direct your mind to empower your body. And when you focus on your breathing and you focus on looking at the world differently, you can change that perception. In the morning, like I just did this 10-second count with you. There's many, many, many different ways to change our level of stress and tension, even when things are outside of our control. Because sometimes when things are outside of our control, we don't have control over it, so we can't do anything about it. And that causes tension and stress and pressure within our body. If you don't have control over it, you don't have control over it. So you might as well let go. You might as well dig deep and get into a place of possibility and seeing that, maybe it can work out better than you thought that it was going to work out. But nobody can do that for you. You have to do that within yourself. And I found a lot during this period of time, especially related to there's a lot going on in the world right now. And the thing that I have control over is my state and how I show up. So I focus on my breathing, I focus on meditation, I focus on physical exercise. I make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. Sometimes if I'm not getting enough sleep, I don't feel as good. I don't feel as alert and awake. I'm out in nature right now and I'm looking at the trees and looking at the sky. So going and taking a walk in nature also can be a really powerful way to get calm within yourself. I've mentioned in other videos that I go on what I call thinking walks. And the thinking walk is really a way for me to get quiet within myself, not listen to music or listen to other things, but to walk in quiet and to think about a question that I have in my mind or a problem that I'm trying to solve. And when I do that, I can get a clearer answer. And it doesn't always show up the first time I do it. Meaning, if I go take a walk, I may not get that answer on that first round. But I may do it several successive days to be able to keep asking the question. It's not ask and you will receive, it's ask until you receive. So ask until you receive. As we continue to ask the question, then we can begin to start to understand that there are other answers that can come to us. I was listening to a video with Kyle Cease, and Kyle was talking about how life is kind of like an elevator, and we go up an elevator, and we're on floor number 1, and we go up to floor number 2, and we get so excited at what's floor number 2, we don't realize that there's like a gazillion floors up above there. And if we just literally hold our reaction to arriving at floor number 2, then something much greater can emerge. And I think as human beings, and I can certainly say this for myself, that sometimes I'm impatient and I don't want to wait for other floors to show up. It's a practice and a discipline to hold the thought in my mind. He was also saying that, that if I have a question that comes up in my life, don't feel the need to answer it right away. Questions may come up and they go. Questions come up and they go. And so we don't have to react to everything that's going on in our life. Calmness has to be within ourselves. Most of what's going on in the world today is really a mindset game. It's really how we manage our emotional state and our mental toughness. But how I feel about my body and how I feel about my energy and how I manage my stress is largely within my control. It's within my choice to be able to change. I can change in an instant. I can change the way that I feel. I can ask a different question, like I said, or I can begin to do some breathing. So if you're in this place in your life where you're feeling out of control and you don't know what to do about it, take a moment and get quiet. Sometimes I have to turn out the light in my office so there's no external stimulus going on around me so that I can quiet my mind. But it's important to make sure that we're being quiet within ourselves. And so we can begin to do that in really, really simple ways. And these tools are always with you. They're always available to you when you call upon them. Right now I'm sitting outside, and maybe you could hear the wind blowing in through the microphone here, and the water is running. It just helps me to quiet my mind down. And I'm not thinking about anything in particular. I'm focusing on calm. Years ago when I started to practice meditation, because meditation is really a practice, it's not something we're not born knowing how to do this. You know, maybe when we're little, we can easily get there, but not really, because it takes a certain type of mental concentration. And I would have a hard time quieting my mind down, and so I would focus on a color. You know, people would say, you know, when you meditate, focus on your breathing, you know, focus on the breath coming in and going out. Focus on, you know, your highest vision. Listen to affirmations. I had difficulty listening to other people speaking and taking it in as my own thought. Well, one of the things that really helped me was to focus on visualizing a color. And so invariably I would pick like a purplish color, which felt really relaxing to me. And I would calm my mind down through that. So maybe it's a different color for you, and that's okay. Try to get the pressure down in your body under a 1 or 2. And we're going to have some pressure in our body simply because we're alive and we're doing things and we're in action and we're cooking a meal, we're cleaning our house, we're getting up in the morning, we're getting ready. And so there's a certain amount of energy that we have to inject into our lives to keep things going. And in between that, we need to pause, get calm, focus, breathe, meditate, visualize. It's literally that simple. And it takes practice. It's really the art of stress management. It's not the science of stress management. It's not the philosophy of stress management. It's the art of stress management. I made a realization many years ago about releasing tension in my body, and so I want to share this with you. There's an exercise that is, again, you don't need any special equipment. It's with you all the time. It's called a Kegel exercise. It's spelled K-E-G-E-L, Kegel exercise. And traditionally, a Kegel exercise is given to both pregnant moms after they have babies, as well as people who are incontinent, meaning they can't hold their urine, and they may pee in their pants, or they wear a diaper, or whatever the case is. And you can strengthen those muscles. It's called the sacrococcygeal muscles. It's the base of the spine, all the way at the very root chakra. And when you contract and relax that muscle, so they say that contracting the muscle is like stopping the flow of urine. You're going to the bathroom and you want to stop the flow of urine, you contract those muscles. And you can contract and relax those muscles. And what I found was that when I could keep an open Kegel, which means when I was relaxing those muscles, I could feel the energy and the openness within myself more than I could if I was contracted. I would sometimes hold tension in my pelvis and in my lower back, and I've learned to let that go so that I can feel more open. And in this opening, I'm able to see more, because it makes things possible. It opens up awareness to be able to ask a different question. There are different questions that we ask in our lives, and how you ask your questions will determine how you think about life. So if I ask the question, what do I need to do to feel more calm right now? How could I feel more calm now? Or I can command and tell my mind what I want it to do. Release the tension now. Get quiet within myself. Come to a place of knowingness that you have certainty about where you are and what you're doing. Believe in yourself. Now, I don't remember having so much support when I was younger. And I felt like there was a lot of negativity in my world growing up. I had to learn to retrain or retrain my brain. And this started happening when I was, like 19 years old, when I first got exposed to Tony Robbins. And I started understanding that there was something that I could do to change the way that I feel. So, listen, there's not one way of doing this. But what I would say to you is that it's possible. It's possible to maintain a quieter mental framework, to stay calm within my mind, to breathe deeply, and to feel the inside of my body. But it's practice that's going to make the difference. It's consistency that's going to make the difference. It's the discipline of doing it when you don't want to do it. Decide that you're going to step up to the plate. Decide that you want your life to be greater, and you want to have command over your mind, command over your body. That's what's on my mind right now.